Hello again, this is Toby, and today we'll be doing a correction for a previous task, which is finding anagrams. Okay, and so we're just going to go over the questions and basically look at an optimal solution to the question, just one of the many possible solutions to the question. Okay, and so the question asks us to download a starter project and then asks us basically to create a function, okay, or complete a function that detects anagrams and basically returns a boolean whether two words are anagrams or not. Okay, and to be able to properly understand this question, I think we need to understand what anagrams are first of all. So I've pulled up a definition actually from wordtips.com. okay, and what's an anagram? An anagram is a new word or phrase created by the alphabet of another word or phrase. So basically all the letters in a previous word are in the other word. That's what an anagram is. And the general rule is to use all the letters from the original word or phrase to make the new word. So that's another rule. All the letters in the previous word must be in the new word. Okay, and then we have a couple of examples. So silence and listen are examples of anagrams. Okay, Elvis and lives. Okay, dirty room and dormitory. Okay, and just more examples actually. Okay, so another helpful tip is, does an anagram have to use all the letters? And the answer to that is yes. So an anagram has to use all the letters of the first word to create the second word basically. So based on these rules, we can just take a couple of examples and try to create experiment with what you already have from Python to get maybe like a function or a process that can basically return the same value for a string if they have the same letters basically. So we're just going to go ahead and experiment in the Python IDLE and come up with a solution to that. Okay, so we're going to be using silence and listen and dirty room and dormitory as our test cases. Okay, so we're just going to create a string 1, okay, and anagram 1 listen, then string 2 would be what? Dirty room, and anagram 2 would be dormitory. Okay, and first off we might want to make use of the sorted function, the inbuilt sorted function from Python basically, which takes in any iterable. Iterable is any object in Python that has like smaller units. So in a string we have smaller units which are letters basically, and just returns those units sorted in alphabetical order, whatever that may be. So in strings that's A, B, C, D, and just alphanumeric order basically. In a list of numbers it would be a numerical order. Okay, so we can actually just sort string 1 and we get the items of string, the letters of string sorted in alphabetical order. Okay, and this works really well already. So we can already see that if we also sort the anagram 1 rather, we get the same result. Okay, so I think we've stumbled upon a function already that gives us what we want. But then if we try this with anagram 2, so sorted 2, string 2, and sorted anagram 2, we get a different result because of what? This space. Okay, so we have to find a way to basically remove the space of the string before we compare them or sort them. Okay, and what we use to do that is a simple replace. Okay, so we can just replace all spaces with no space basically, and that's anagram 1, anagram 2 rather. So we get the same thing, and then we can do that for string 2. And what replace is going to do is that it's going to return a new string. So we have to save the value in basically a new variable, okay, or we have to compare it directly. So that will be sorted after basically replacing the new value. Again, we get what we want basically, which is the same as sorted anagram 2. So this is the operation we're going to use to basically detect anagrams. Okay, so we can just go ahead and open the starter file now. Okay, and I expect you to see this. Yeah, so this is the starter file, and we just want to complete the function already there. Okay, so we just want to complete the code that checks two words word and an anagram, and make sure whether they're anagrams or not, basically. So it detects whether they're anagrams or not. So that's the starter file, and we just want to complete this function. Okay, so based on what we've already experimented with, the first thing to do would be to replace white space, okay, or remove rather, and that would be word is equal to word dot replace, and we're just removing all the white space. We do the same for the anagram. So if you notice, this is not like an inbuilt function. What we're doing is that we're first of all calling the replace function, which is going to return a new string, and then we're reassigning this new string to the word variable. It's not like typically that every time you have to change something in a string you have to reassign it. So that's how this works, because we are returning a new value and we want to update it. Okay, so replace doesn't work in place. It basically returns a new value that we now have to cage. Okay, and then now we're going to call our sorted function. So sorted word, okay, which is first boolean, and then we want to check that sorted word is equal to sorted anagram. Okay, and this is going to return a boolean, true or false. And we can just go ahead and let's try out an if statement. Okay, so if sorted is equal to sorted, return true, else return false. Okay, that's one possibility. Another possibility would be that we can just go ahead and just return this boolean directly, because it's the same thing we're doing really. This is still going to return true or false, right? So we can just return that value without the extra logic. Okay, and that's just a solution to it. And then we can go ahead and test our function. Okay, so this is one thing about functions, they are not like invoked, they don't execute unless we invoke them. Okay, so let's go ahead and invoke them based on the examples we have in this on this website. Okay, silent listen. Okay, so find anagram silent. Again, I think another thing we can add is that we can just lower the words, both words, basically lowercase, just to remove some ambiguity, basically. So word or lower, word is equal to word or lower. And same for anagram. Okay, and we can just go ahead silent listen. Okay, and we just print out that, okay, calling find anagram with yeah, I just want to basically show the parameters we're calling it with. So basically silent and listen. Okay, do the same for Elvis and lives. Okay, and we can do that for dormitory and dirty room. Basically that would be like our last example. Okay, and we can just go ahead and run that. Now basically I've been seeing a lot of confusion about the difference between executing a Python script from your terminal and basically working with a REPL session. So this is a REPL session. Okay, it's just a simple session. We put in Python code, we get output immediately. REPL means read, evaluate, print, loop. Okay, and we just use this for basically testing things out. Most times when we ask you to submit a program, we expect you to write a Python file, so put all your code in a .py file, okay, and then submit that. Okay, that's usually what we want. We rarely ask you to work in a REPL session and submit this. Okay, so what you use this REPL session for is to test out your ideas, okay, and to see whether they really work and solve the solution properly. Okay, and if they do, then you can now go ahead and put that into your Python script, okay, and run that and submit that. Okay, so we're running a Python script now. And how do we do that? We have to be in the same directory or folder as our Python file from the command line. So if you're not familiar with navigating with bash or your terminal, you should really check out basically basic command line tutorial. Okay, I think we'll talk about that briefly in the upcoming QA. Okay, but I'm just going to navigate using cd. So I'm in this directory. I can just copy the path. Actually, that's one way to do it. Okay, and you can see that we have main.py file right there. So I'm just going to write python main.py, which is going to run python main.py. Okay, and we have an error actually because I forgot to remove this. Awesome. So take that again, and we see we have true. Okay, and just to be sure, a bit of unit testing actually, that's what this looks like. You can just go ahead and put in a wrong value. Okay, so hello and yellow. Okay, awesome. So we see what we expect basically, which is our function correctly detects anagrams. So this is a full look at the code, and that's it from me for now. Yeah, thank you for listening.